All right, y'all. So, breaking news. Karmelo Anthony has officially been indicted by the grand jury and officially faces first-degree murder for the unalivement of Austin Metcalf. So, white folks, you guys got exactly what you wanted. And more than likely, he's probably not going to be found innocent because, well, we know why. Whether you guys like it or not, agree to disagree, I still feel that he defended himself. It was self-defense in my eyes. That's how I feel. It is what it is. But I don't make the law. I don't make the rules. I can only give my opinion.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about some bombshell news that the pro-blacks are not going to like, okay? Because they swear up and down that Karmelo Anthony acted in self-defense when he stabbed Austin Metcalf to death at a track meet, okay? I mean, they've come up with all types of ridiculous stories, not backed by any facts, claiming that this was self-defense, that Karmelo was jumped, that Austin Metcalf's brother, Hunter Metcalf, was involved, and that Hunter Metcalf should be charged with the murder of his brother. I mean, these are all the things that these people put out there.
Austin and apparently his brother come over to Karmelo. Words are exchanged, and he says they tried to swing at him. Karmelo goes to his bag, and then they pursue. They continue on.
It was raining. They got rained out like crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra wet. Dude was sitting up under the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up, McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to punch on dude. Dude went in his bag and whatever. They went to try to jump this dude and punch on this dude, man. And he protected himself, dude. That's what happened. Yeah. It wasn't just one. It was both of them, bro. Austin, that dude that got unalive, and his brother physically went over there to intentionally. It's not to the point that he brought a knife. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was a community track meet, bruh. It wasn't a school track meet. So he had the right to have a knife on his person, bro.
It's always going to be a different story than the main story that the racist right tries to promote. Always going to be a different story. When people talk about you can't use lethal force is in the eye of the beholder, right? It's the same thing we have when it comes to an officer, that they fear for their lives. It can't be in hindsight. It has to be taken into account of what happened at that time. So if Anthony is being attacked, he's already been assaulted, and you have two people, it's 2 versus 1. In addition to them being completely outweighed, he's outweighed by them, right? They weigh 200-something pounds or whatnot. Anthony's a very skinny kid. Then yes, a lawyer could absolutely argue that he had reasonable belief that he was going to have not immediate imminent death, because it's not imminent death, but also a serious bodily injury. Those are 2 factors that come into play. So if he absolutely believes that he's going to incur serious bodily injury, then yeah, pulling out a knife to defend yourself, it's absolutely reasonable. It's absolutely can be seen as self-defense.
And none of these things have turned out to be factual, okay? There's no evidence whatsoever that Karmelo was being jumped or that he was being viciously attacked, beaten, right, to justify his self-defense claim, right? As of right now, he has a very, very, very weak case, okay? And some more evidence to suggest that the case is very weak is that at the very least, a grand jury thought that the prosecutor's case against Karmelo warranted going to trial, okay, and him being indicted, okay, for first-degree murder, okay? So we're talking about first-degree murder. He's going to trial, And let's just say that the pro-blacks are not taking this very well on TikTok.
Oh, bitch, I get on the TikTok today and I see like 10 videos straight of motherfuckers talking about some, where all the Karmelo supporters at? Where the Karmelo supporters at? His ass finna go to jail for life. He's finna rot in jail. I told y'all boys he wasn't innocent. I'm thinking the motherfucking video out. Bitch, the video not even out yet. The video is released, but it's only shown to a select handful of people in the court of law. But ain't no judge or no jury determine a verdict yet or no sentence, bitch. So what the is y'all talking about? The law is innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent, bitch. When the did that become a law? I still think it's motherfucking self-defense, bitch.
Dr. Umar says that if that video that they have of the Frisco incident involving Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf actually showed that Karmelo Anthony was guilty, the video would absolutely be out by now. He also states that Karmelo Anthony and Rodney Hinton Jr. aren't actually on trial for these alleged crimes that they committed, but because they had the audacity to defend themselves against white people, basically.
According to the Texas stand your ground law, if you felt that your life was in danger, you do not have a duty to retreat. Did y'all hear that? They said, why didn't he run? Texas law does not require you to run. Texas law allows you to stand and fight, and that's what he did. But he's not on trial for that. He's on trial for having the audacity as a black boy to defend your honor by taking a life. Right.
There has been an official indictment for first-degree unaliving in the Karmelo Anthony case. Now, before y'all get too excited, which I know you are, that does not mean that he's been found guilty and that he's going to jail. Now, before y'all come over here starting y'all mess, I still agree that it was self-defense. And so does Karmelo Anthony's legal team. They already shared that they plan to argue this in court as a self-defense case and that they believe that the justice system will do right by Karmelo Anthony.
Well, it's official. Karmelo Anthony has been charged with first-degree imp. I mean, this is America. A black person defending himself against a white person has never worked out really in a black person's favor. So, you know, now if the colors would have been flipped, it would have been a whole different story. But because he's defending himself, you know, that's what we read, right? We read self-defense, right? But, you know, of course, people didn't take it that way. So yeah.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? Now, I will say this. The pro-blacks are correct about the fact that Karmelo is innocent until proven guilty, right? In the eyes of the court of law, he is innocent until proven guilty. However, if/when he is found guilty, because as of right now, he has a very weak self-defense case, I guarantee you, none of these individuals are going to change their mind, right? They're going to say, well, I still believe it was self-defense, and he was found guilty because the white man, because of racism, because he's black, because Austin Metcalf is white, and this is just another example of the system screwing over the black man, right? We can't get a fair shot in the system, right? So again, the excuse for why they're likely to be wrong is already built in. It's already built in, okay? There's nothing that can change these people's mind, okay? There's no evidence that can or will be presented that will change their minds. They've already made up their minds that because Karmelo is black, he is innocent, right? And that this is self-defense, even though, again, it's very weak at this point, right? Very, very, very weak. Again, he is being charged with first-degree murder, okay? He's going to be tried as an adult. So we're going to see what happens, okay? I mean, this guy could possibly be spending a long time in prison. So let's listen to the Collin County District Attorney, Greg Willis, discuss this, and also the defense attorney for Karmelo Anthony.
Good afternoon. Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did. With this indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our job both fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. As for the scheduling of the trial, that will be up to the court. but when the time comes, we will be ready. Now, we know this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond, and that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves. We're also mindful of Austin's family and everyone who loved him. Please keep them in your thoughts, and if you're willing, your prayers as well. Finally, let's remember that a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
Today's indictment of Karmelo Anthony is an expected and routine step in the legal process. An indictment is a procedural step that happens in virtually every felony criminal case. It's a document that lays out for both the prosecution and the defense what the prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court. An indictment simply means that a grand jury, after hearing only the prosecution's side of the story, determined that there was enough evidence to allow the case to move forward to court. That's all an indictment means. Karmelo and his family are confident in the justice system and the people of Collin County to be fair and impartial. Of course, Karmelo looks forward to his day in court. It's only in a trial that a jury will hear the full story, one that includes critical facts and context that the grand jury simply didn't get to hear. It's only in a trial that both sides get to present evidence and cross-examine each other's witnesses. This is why our justice system is based on the principle of a full and fair trial. That's because it's only in a trial that the full story can be heard and that impartial justice can be done. We expect that when the full story is heard, the prosecution will not be able to rule out the reasonable doubt that Karmelo Anthony may have acted in self-defense. Self-defense is a fundamental right guaranteed every American. The law is clear. When self-defense is raised by the facts, the law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the citizen accused did not act in self-defense. The law does not expect or require the citizen accused to prove that they acted in self-defense. It's actually the opposite. The law requires the prosecution to rule out the reasonable doubt that the citizen accused may have acted in self-defense. We understand that this case has sparked strong reactions. Please remember that there are real human beings, kids, on both sides of this case. We ask that everyone do as the law requires and withhold judgment until all the evidence can be heard in court. We are confident that when all the facts are presented and the full story is heard, the jury will reach the right conclusion and justice will be done.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out why is it that Karmelo's defense team, why have they not stated any facts? Have you guys noticed that they have not stated any facts whatsoever to support the claim of self-defense, right? I'm just saying, to me, it's just really kind of funny how, the defense here, again, has not presented any story that, in my opinion, would suggest that this was self-defense at all. Okay, they have not said anything about a jumping or that Karmelo was getting beat or that there was any type of fight or anything like that. They haven't really said anything, okay, at all, okay? So with that being said, we also got to talk about witnesses, people who have witnessed the video. They're also not saying anything about Karmelo being jumped when they watch the footage, okay? Because the footage is being released in a limited fashion to people that are in the media, to certain individuals. They're able to see it. The school is showing it. And we've already went over this before. And recently, other people have kind of caught up on this. But I covered this 1 or 2 weeks ago when this story first came out. But you have the Daily Mail here. I guess one of their representatives had got access to the surveillance footage. And I want to go over what they saw. Because once again, we have another witness to the footage suggesting that Karmelo was not jumped, and that, again, this is very unlikely to be self-defense. So let's read here. On Monday, the Daily Mail became one of only 2 news organizations granted access to surveillance footage of the deadly incident, a killing that shocked the nation and ignited debates about race, privilege, and the criminal justice system. The 40-minute surveillance video recorded from a stationary camera on the opposite side of the football field captures the 10 minutes leading up to the attack and the desperate efforts by the Metcalf twin brothers and others to save his life before paramedics arrived. Metcalf, a student at Memorial High School, was stabbed after confronting Anthony, who attended Centennial High School, about sitting under the tent of a team he was not affiliated with, according to police and statements made by Metcalf's father after the killing. Anthony has admitted to the stabbing, but maintains he acted in self-defense, claiming, quote, "the truth will come out." Initially, Frisco police said an altercation between the teens led to the violent encounter. However, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District's headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to the stabbing. So, once again, we have another witness that has seen the video, okay, that is saying that they're not seeing Karmelo being jumped. They're not seeing him being beat up. They're not seeing any of the things that the pro-blacks are claiming, right, in order to justify the self-defense claim. The Daily Mail did not detect anything that initiated chaos was about to ensue. So basically, it happened all of a sudden, right? It happened in a way that makes it unlikely that this was self-defense. Because, again, we were told that Austin was beating up on Karmelo, right? Just mogging him, okay? And, again, that's what justified him being stabbed to death, right? That is essentially the story that these people are claiming, okay? Strict guidelines were enforced for viewing the footage. Reporters were only permitted to take handwritten notes and were barred from capturing or republishing stills or clips. The district allowed the limited release because the students' identities are not easily discernible in the video, captured by a high-angle camera positioned near the press box and typically used for football broadcasts. The footage shows the tent at the top left of the screen. Students are seen sitting idly beneath it, waiting for the competition to start. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, it becomes apparent that the moment has happened when an armed Karmelo Anthony attacked Metcalf. The stabbing itself is not visible on camera, but the reaction is immediate. Students are seen fleeing from under the tent. While police later confirm Anthony fled the scene, he cannot be clearly identified in the footage. Moments later, at least 2 people can be seen carrying an injured Metcalf down the bleachers to a walkaway at the bottom of the seating area. Now, again, why is this not good for Karmelo, right? Why is this bad news for Karmelo? Well, the reason why it's bad news for Karmelo is because regardless of whether or not the footage can be seen, okay, the fact that the footage does not show that Karmelo clearly acted in self-defense is not good when you consider the fact that every witness statement that we have up until this point basically suggests that Karmelo stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest after being pushed, right? But again, it does not suggest that Karmelo was being beat up, okay? Or that Karmelo was being jumped or that anybody else was involved in this outside of those 2 individuals, okay? Because if the witness statements are accurate, okay, and this video cannot prove otherwise that the witness statements are inaccurate, then again, he's gonna have a hard time proving self-defense in court, right? Or put it this way, the prosecutors are not going to have a hard time disproving self-defense in court, right? Because that's the way it's supposed to work, okay? So, again, this is, again, one of these things where we're going to have to wait and see. But this indictment suggests that, hey, the prosecution, their case is at very least strong enough to get it to court, right? To warrant a trial. And, again, we're going to see what happens. Again, Karmelo is innocent until proven guilty, technically. But at the same time, I think that his self-defense case is very weak. There's been no evidence to come out so far to suggest that he has a strong self-defense case. And we're going to see what happens at trial, right? We're going to see what happens. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.